Okay, guys, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Now, fasten your seatbelts. Here we go. All right, guys, it's Wednesday, June 24th, and it is 10:20 p.m. Yes, I know, I'm getting a late start, but at least I'm getting a start. So we're going to get into the news. Now, Q did post today, but I had some things that I needed to do for my parents. So by the time I got home, I had about half the Q post done, but Q continued to post, and I just didn't have time to get that together and also be able to bring the news. I would have been even later. So I decided I'm going to bring that to you tomorrow along with any news. And tonight we are going to focus on the news, if that's all right. Now, I will tell you guys something. I'm a little bit disappointed today. In fact, I'm actually a little ticked off, and I'll tell you why. Remember when I was asking you guys nicely, and you very nicely complied, that if you could help me to get my, views or my subscriptions up, because I was stuck at 66.6. Well, you guys had bumped me to 66.7, and Twitter knocked me back down again. Yes, they did. And I know that many people, like once in a while, I'll lose a viewer or two for whatever reason. Maybe they don't agree with me, or maybe they just have too many other people that they are interested in listening to and don't have time. But not all that many all at once. I mean, no. So anyway, if you could be so kind, if you guys are subscribed to this channel and would like to continue to be subscribed, please check to make sure that you are subscribed, because what happens, and it happens to me with the channels that I listen to as well, they just knock me off every now and then, and I'll think, wait a minute, I was subscribed to them. So if you think you are subscribed, just check to make sure that you are. I really would like this to get to 66.7 at least. I don't care about numbers, but I think they're toying with me because it just seemed stuck at 66.6. Then I asked, you guys to pitch in, and we got it to 66.7, and they immediately took those people away to put me back down to 66.6. So I'm pretty sure they're playing with me. I don't like it much. I think it's very unfair what, YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and the whole bunch of them are doing right now, and especially Twitter with the content creators. More and more people are being kicked off, and it is so unfair. Anyway, all right, enough of me whining. I am going to get into the news. I'm going to thank some people first, though. I'm going to thank Diane Haney. She donated via coffee. Thank you very much. Brian Anon, Beloved One. I like that name. And Vanessa. Thank you guys so much. It is very much appreciated, especially during this time. And also, I got something in the mail, and it gave me quite the laugh when I opened it because, well, it was from Debbie W. in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I hesitate to give her last name because I'm not sure if she wants me to or not. But anyway, she sent me this big package, and you know what was inside? Toilet paper. And I laughed because she said, well, I heard you say that toilet paper is really expensive up here. And during this whole COVID thing, it has been really, really expensive. And it hasn't come down much since. So anyway, I mean, not that I'm that hard up for toilet paper. I mean, really, I'm not. But it's funny because she said, I thought you would get a laugh out of this. And I did, because in my entire life, and I've had so many, like a variety of experiences in my life, but nobody's ever sent me toilet paper. So that's a first. So anyway, thank you, Debbie W. And the other thing that I got quite a kick from is her two grandkids are named Sam and Xander, just like my cats. Well, I call him Sammy, but his name is Sam. And so I thought that was very interesting. What are the odds of that? Well, I don't know. I'm not a mathematician, but I think that the odds are pretty small of that happening. Anyway, her two grandsons are well named. So anyway, we're going to get on with the news now. And I'm sure you're saying, well, it's about time. All right. I had to get that off my chest about my numbers. It just bums me out. I know it's just numbers, and I know that, but it's like you're a Christian. You know, I don't make any bones about being a Christian. I am a Christian. And so, you know, I feel like it's a, you know, my channel says 666 under it. And, you know, well, all right. I think you guys all get it. Okay, well, let's get into the news. Of course, we've got some good news today. And this from Myrna. She says, winning. Congrats, General Flynn. Appeal court orders appeal court orders judge to dismiss Flynn charges. Now, that's good news. That is very, very good news. So appeals court orders judge to dismiss Flynn charges. A federal appeals court on Wednesday ordered a judge to grant the Department of Justice, DOJ, unusual move to drop charges against Flynn. So, yeah, it's about time. It really is about time. And it's ridiculous what that judge did in dragging it out all this long. I mean, they could only prolong it. You know, he knew he was going to have to dismiss it sooner or later. He knew he would be made to dismiss it, but he wanted to drag it out, I guess, just to show his butt. All right, and over here, Jamie R., Army Girl, said, wow, millions of people protesting and no spike, but the mainstream media says the Trump rally caused a spike within 48 hours. You're truly fake news. Delete your network. And of course, she is talking to CNN. You know, they are the poster boys for CNN, or for fake news. Absolutely. If you look up fake news, their picture should be right beside it. Anyway, new research suggests Black Lives Matter protests across the U.S. have not led to a jump in coronavirus cases, but yet they're saying that the cases jumped within 48 hours because of the Trump rally. You know, the Trump rally that they claimed nobody went to? Yeah, that's the same one. All right, now let's come down to here and let's hear what Donald Trump Jr. has to say. Oregon County imposes face mask requirement targeting only white people. Minorities exempt over racism fears, which would seem to anyone with a brain to be the definition of racism. Yeah. So how is making only white people wear a mask not considered racism? Please explain that to me because I'm not getting it. Yeah, so they impose this face mask requirement, but it's only the white people. So if you're black, or I guess Hispanic or Asian or another, you just don't have to. Doesn't make sense to me, but hey, I guess the virus only knows, you know, I guess you can't catch the virus if you're black. I don't know. What are they thinking? What is their excuse for this? They don't have one, really. Yeah, isn't that interesting? Anyway, let's hear from Rudy Giuliani. Wake up! Black Lives Matter wants to destroy law enforcement, end bail, empty the prisons, including drug dealers as well as users, provide themselves with reparations and a full-time government income without the necessity of work. Yeah, that pesky little thing called work seems to get in the way of a lot of people. Isn't that something? They really do. Some of them, not all of them, but some of them just want to be able to sit at home and draw an income. And I guess they fill in the gaps of that income with crime, right? I mean, what else would you do? You don't want to work. All right. Now, let's look at this. U.S. Marshals. The U.S. Marshals arrested 17-year-old Decimus Jesus Laureles of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, in Holcomb, Kansas, on charges of attempted murder, aggravated assault on a law enforcement officer, and rioting after discharging a gun on police during George Floyd protest on May 31st. Now, I'm seeing more and more of this where they are rounding these people up. So you might think that you're okay because you are wearing a mask. They can find you, and they will. They will. So, yeah, good. I'm glad. All right, and Sherry says NASCAR is dead to me. Gettysburg is on high alert. Now, this is important. Gettysburg is on high alert. There are credible threats that the monuments and flags will be attacked July 4th. A militia is forming, plan to attend if you're in this area. Now, I don't know, getting together with a militia can be dangerous as well, but I understand that these are probably patriots that just want to protect history. My gosh, I've been to Gettysburg numerous times, and many times when I was a child. And my mom was a teacher. We traveled in the summers and all over the United States, all over Canada. I've been almost to every state, and I have been to every province and territory in Canada as well. And what she did when we were traveling, she would prepare ahead of time the places where we went, and she would, tell us the history. So when we visited Gettysburg as a family, we were given a history lesson. My mother always, she was a teacher, so she always was into these teachable moments. And I learned so much that way. And I learned so much about American history because everywhere we visited, we learned the history. And Gettysburg has a very fond place in my mind, even though it's a very sad, and you can feel it. It's kind of an eerie quietness there. I can't describe it. Maybe some of you can corroborate that that have been there. But it's rich with history, and it would be an absolute crime to destroy that because it's important that we don't forget. All right, now let's come down to this, shall we? Of course we shall. Now, let's take a look at this. United States District Court, District of Columbia, United States of America versus Michael T. Flynn, defendant. And let me see. Because this has information about Strzok and Page. It's really not long, so I'm going to read it. In his brief in opposition to amicus, General Flynn explained why the recently uncovered exculpatory evidence justified the government's motion to dismiss pursuant to Federal Rule of Criminal Procedure 48A, ECF 228 at 19 to 29. He also consented to the government's motion to dismiss ECF number 199. Yesterday, the government produced further stunning and exculpatory evidence previously withheld from General Flynn showing that Director Comey himself and the highest levels of the Obama administration had the transcripts of Flynn's phone calls with officials of other countries and knew General Flynn's calls were lawful and proper. Strzok's note, believed to be of January 4th, 2017, reveal that former President Obama, James Comey, Sally Yates, Joe Biden, and apparently Susan Rice discussed the transcripts of Flynn's calls and how to proceed against him. Mr. Obama himself directed that the right people investigate General Flynn. This is all while knowing he did nothing wrong. He did not do anything unlawfully. Mr. Obama directed that the right people investigate General Flynn. And who would the right people be? I guess the people that are crooked enough to do his bidding, even knowing it was against the law. That's probably who he considers the right people. So this caused former FBI Director Comey to acknowledge the obvious. General Flynn's phone calls with Ambassador Kislyak appear legit. According to Strzok's notes, it appears that Vice President Biden personally raised the idea of the Logan Act. That became an admitted pretext to investigate General Flynn. The notes are attached as Exhibit 1. And of course, those notes are not, maybe they are. And it says, I hereby certify that on June 24th, I electronically filed, blah, blah, blah. So this is, there's been a motion to dismiss, and it has been dismissed. So, and this was submitted by Sidney Powell, Molly McCann, Sidney Powell, no. Okay. So anyway, isn't that interesting that this is coming out right now? But will people pay attention to it? Will the news pick it up? Probably not. I don't know. I don't watch mainstream news. Maybe some of you do. Maybe not. But I don't know if it was in tonight's news or not. But I suspect not. It should be plastered everywhere, all over the world. This is huge, huge news. And Mr. Obama has some splaining to do. So does Joe Biden. It's not just Obamagate, it's Bidengate now as well. All right, so let's go back and let's get into more stuff. Hey, all right. Now, this shouldn't surprise anyone either. Well, that's good coffee. I don't care what anybody says. See, in Seattle, business owners flee the city, blame socialist city council for total breakdown. Yeah, and I don't blame them. If you had a business and you had poured your life into that, would you stay in Seattle? I wouldn't, because I'd know that I have no backup. Not anybody in, the mayor doesn't care. The governor doesn't care. So, business owners in Seattle are fleeing the city after weeks of protests, rising crime, and the CHOP autonomous zone directly blaming their socialist council for the breakdown of everyday life. From Fox News, Joey Rodolfo, the owner of a clothing store in Seattle, Washington, told Fox and Friends that he plans to move out of the state, citing no leadership and a socialist city council as reasons for his decision. I think those are pretty good reasons. Rodolfo, the co-founder of Buki Clothing, made the comments as authorities in Seattle are making preparations to retake the Capitol Hill Organized Protest Zone, or CHOP, after several shootings and a number of other crimes have been reported in what protesters have declared a cop-free zone. Yeah, well, if they had prevented them from setting it up in the first place, it would have been a lot easier than trying to tear it down now that they're entrenched there. But hey, what do I know? Demonstrators moved in and occupied the neighborhood on June 8th after police pulled out of their East Precinct building following more than a week of protests over the death in Minneapolis of George Floyd, some of which grew violent. Floyd died while in police custody. On Monday, Seattle Mayor Jenny Durkan announced the city will move to end the police-free zone after two recent shootings, one of which was deadly. I will tell you what's currently happening in Seattle, Rodolfo said on Wednesday. We have people in leadership positions where we have no leader. We have seen this happen in the private sector, and you know what eventually happens without leadership, right? Companies usually die in the private sector, he continued. Since we have no leadership and we have a city council that's so socialist, there really is very, very little support for business. As far as the city reaching out to small businesses like ourselves or any business, there have been zero. In fact, most of the attention has been focused on CHOP, making sure that people in CHOP are well taken care of, but I think they should be taken care of. Just not in the way that they think. Well, I'm not talking about killing them. I'm just saying they need to be taken care of and, put in maybe a little cell. Just call, they can take over their cell. It can be a cop-free zone. They can call it whatever they want. They can put graffiti on their walls. Oh, they can have such a happy time. Oh, and they'll get 3 hots and a cot. Yep. So that's what I think that they should do. I think that's a good compromise. You give us our city back, and we'll give you a cell. You can call it whatever you want. You can call it Chaz. You can call it Chop. You can call it Chump. Anything you want, you can call your cell. You can write on the walls. Mm-hmm. You can call it a cop-free zone. You can even declare it its own socialist nation if you want. Sure, go ahead. And in exchange, we'll give you 3 hots and a cot. Yeah, doesn't sound bad to me. All right. So, in fact, most of the attention has been focused on CHOP, making sure the people in CHOP are well taken care of, but there has been absolutely no support or no encouragement for us to reopen our stores and have any significant sense that there will be a future here if we were to keep our businesses in Seattle or the state of Washington. Yeah, Seattle doesn't deserve your business. Take it elsewhere where people will appreciate what you do. That would be my, I know it's not just easy to pick up and move a business. It's not, and I'm not saying that lightly. I realize, but my gosh, you can't operate a business in an environment like that. So that is that. Now, let's go back because there's more. Yes, I know. There's more. All that and more besides. Okay, let's listen to this real person. Real Vinnie James, as opposed to fake Vinnie James. This is the real Vinnie James. Well, what have we here? It's a cached page from Obama's VA. Oh yes, this is very interesting. Very, very interesting. If you haven't seen this, you should pass it along. Yeah, it's a cached page from Obama's VA. And what do we find on this September 2015 page? What do we find? We find liberal hypocrisy, of course. It's literally everywhere. I look these days. I literally see it 24/7, everywhere. I think we all do. Well, let's look at what, they pulled down from Obama's VA, but of course, the page is cached. It never really goes away. You can always find stuff that was on the internet. And look at, what does this say? Tennessee Valley Healthcare System. Become a Kung Flu fighter. Get your flu shot. Didn't President Trump say something like that recently? And wasn't he called a racist? I think so. Funny how nobody bothered Obama. Nobody bothered him at all. I'm just saying. Okay, well, let's go on now. And Eric Matheny, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his last name right. If you want to discuss inequities in the justice system and police reforms, let's start with how General Flynn was treated. Now, compare that to the prosecutorial inaction against those who destroy public monuments, set businesses on fire, and militarily occupy American cities. Yeah, General Flynn was treated much worse than these people are, and he didn't do anything. But that doesn't seem to matter to them. And here's somebody called Chiz. Chiz, that's a cool name. Chiz. Now somebody might want to name their cell that. Welcome to the socialist nation of Chiz. This is my cell. It's a cop-free zone. Subway has pulled their endorsement offer to Bubba Wallace. Oh, poor Bubba. Poor Bubba. Oh my gosh. It's awful. It's awful, man. All right, let's go on now. Poor Bubba. Poor Bubba. There must be something wrong with me. I'm switching between Diet Coke and coffee. I don't know. The Washington Times. Facebook moderators brag about deleting pro-Trump posts in Project Veritas sting. I'm sure most of you have seen this probably by now, but Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg has long insisted that the company is politically neutral. You'd have to be brain dead to believe that. Really, I think that they are, you talk about the zombie apocalypse. I think we're there. Because most of the people you converse with on a daily basis, it seems, don't know anything. Like, they can't make change in a store. They can't, they don't know how to read a an old time clock. And what is that? An analog clock. They don't know how to read that. People just don't know anymore. They don't know things. You ask them simple questions about their own country. They can't answer. Anyway, I digress. The social media giant said it would review its training and oversight after a Project Veritas sting released Tuesday showed moderators on hidden camera footage claiming that they delete pro-Trump and conservative posts, that the company harbors an anti-Trump bias, and that Facebook shadow bans content despite its claims to the contrary. Well, who didn't know this? Please, raise your hand. Now, I didn't think anybody would raise their hand, but I had to check. Yeah. So anyway, in an email, a Facebook spokesperson said, our reviewers work hard to keep our platform safe for billions of users every day. The reviewers' decisions are regularly evaluated to ensure our policies are applied fairly and accurately. Said the spokesperson, we do not promote political viewpoints of any stripe, and the comments included in this video are not consistent with our policies. We will be reviewing our training and oversight to make sure these decisions are made consistent with our policies. Now, the only reason they're saying that is because they were caught. We all know it's their policy. We all know that if you're pro-Trump and you are a conservative and you are voicing your opinion on matters, bye-bye, you're censored or shadow banned. We know that. Everybody knows that. Even the liberals know that. But, here they've been caught red-handed and they say, oh, I don't know. I guess, must be a failure in our training. We better revisit that and, because we are completely neutral. Yeah. Okay. They're about as neutral as red. Neutral colors, Red, not a neutral color. All right. Let's go on. We got a lot to get to. I can't dilly-dally. What's all this? All this stuff is new up here. What happened here? Okay, well, you don't know. I certainly don't know. Okay, let's go back. I'm in a strange mood tonight. Now, all these talk about nooses. Well, let's look at some real nooses. And this is by Cali Conservative. I found some real hate crime nooses. And look at who. Yeah. We've all seen pictures like this. There's a noose. 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 There. And, gee, all targeting one person. Oh, there and there. And all around the same person, who happens to be the president of this great nation. So why is it okay? Why is that okay? And yet there's just shock and outrage over Bubba. Poor Bubba. I know. I would have just, if I had gotten to that garage and saw that noose myself, I would have been terrified. I would have bought a gun. I would have got some mace. I would have got some rat poison, anything to protect myself. I would have been terrified. Oh my gosh, they're coming back. I don't know. Strangest thing. One of the strangest things I've ever heard. Bubba. Yeah. Him and Don Lemon make a wonderful team. But of course, when it happens to, Donald Trump, well, that's okay. That's all right. Even though, shouldn't we just respect the office? Should we not respect the office of the president? And something, I never liked Obama. I did not like him from day one. Not because of the color of his skin, but because of the content of his character or lack thereof. I don't care. In fact, up here there is a a black woman running, and I intend on voting for her. She's very intelligent, extremely intelligent, has several degrees, very well spoken, conservative, and makes sense. So I'm voting for her. I don't care. I don't care about somebody's skin color. I care about, can they do the job? And Obama clearly couldn't and didn't. And worse than that, he left the office much worse than when he came in. But you know something, in all those 8 years, I never once wished that he would die. I never once uttered any violence against him. Oh, I hope somebody does admit. No. I wanted him out, but I wanted him out the right way. All right, let's go on now. Renee, Patriot, you can't fix stupid. Ignorant leftists tear down statue, behead it, and throw it in Wisconsin Lake. Statue was of Civil War abolitionist and hero who died in effort to end slavery. They don't care. They don't know their history. They just want to tear down our history and our past regardless. They want it out and over. And, you know, that's what they tend to do before a socialist takeover. Unfortunately, though, they're not going to get their socialist takeover because Americans, let me tell you, there's so many good American people that they are locked and loaded and they're going to protect their rights. I have no doubt about that. It's not going to work here. But they're going to keep trying. No doubt about that. All right. So, yeah. Ignorant leftists tear down statue, behead it, and throw it in Wisconsin River. A statue of a Norwegian-born Civil War hero was torn down yesterday. Yeah, and he was fighting for the freedom of the slaves. That's right. But I guess he deserves now to be beheaded and thrown in the river. Why? I don't know. You tell me. Okay, here's something else from Chiz. Yeah. I think that somebody should name their self Chiz. The Socialist Nation of Chiz. Cop-free zone. Yeah. All right. If racism is so rampant in the United States, why do they have to make up these fake stories? Now, that is an excellent point. An excellent point, don't you think? Why do they have to make this stuff up? I mean, if it's so rampant and out of control, then why do they have to make it up? Jussie Smollett, Bubba Wallace. Why do they have to make it up? I'm just asking. I mean, it's so rampant. You should be able to just have zillions of examples right off the top of your head, right? Because it's so rampant. It's systemic, they're telling us. It's systemic racism. It's all through everything. It's all through the social fabric. Well, I don't see that. And I'm not denying racism exists. It does exist. And yes, I would be very, very happy to see it ended, but ended for everyone. That's racism against whites, blacks, Latinos, Asian, whoever. Native Americans. But why do they have to make it up? Just like, why do they have to make up all these, FFs? Mass fruitings. Why do they have to make those things up? I'm just saying. All right, now this is Richard D. Capetto. And he says okay. First of all, he's responding to Sandpiper, and this is awful. Melania Trump slams Food Network hosts' comments about Barron. John Henderson, who hosts the Food Network's Halloween Baking Championship, tweeted about Barron on Sunday. I hope Barron gets to spend today with whoever his dad is, he said in a post. Can you imagine? And why bring Melania into this? Why bring Barron into this? I mean, President Trump is the president, but why does he have to keep bringing his innocent son, who's a teenager, into this? That is a horrible thing to say to somebody. I hope Barron gets to spend today with whoever his dad is. Well, first of all, he's calling Melania well, I'm not going to say the word that's going to come to mind, but a loose woman. That's what he's saying, that she doesn't know who the father is. So he's insulting Melania and he's insulting Barron. It's awful. But anyway, this person, Richard D. Capetto, says he needs to be investigated. Who talks about children like this? Child predators do. Well, I don't know if he's a child predator, but he and I don't know if he needs to be investigated, but my gosh, that's so inappropriate. He needs to be disciplined by the network. It's disgusting. These people never cease to amaze me. The depths to which they will sink. All right, well, there's more. I know, you were wondering. There's more. Okay. Yes, this is another one of those things that's going to make you go, huh? Offensive imagery of St. Michael defeating Satan is reminiscent of George Floyd. What? So now we have to go back in history and remove everything where someone might look like they have a foot on someone's neck because it might remind somebody of George Floyd, who, well, we all know there's gaping inconsistencies in that story. I mean, they make it almost impossible to believe it if you're paying attention, and I know you guys are. So, The Guardian has promoted a petition calling for British honors depicting the victory of St. Michael the Archangel over Satan to be redesigned, as the offensive imagery is reminiscent of the recent murder of George Floyd. Now, can you imagine, somebody gets murdered in, okay, let's turn this around, all right? Let's say somebody got murdered in Britain somewhere, anywhere. London, wherever, pick a place. And, we start rioting and looting and burning everything because we're all so upset. First of all, I find that very hard to believe that, people would be that upset about somebody in a whole, across the ocean. But then you get so upset that you're starting to look around at statues and going, oh, this reminds me of the person that died. Please take it down. I can't handle it. Oh my gosh, every time I look at it. Oh, the trauma. Does that make any sense at all? Oh, please, kids, don't look. It's a statue. Don't look. Save yourselves, run. So anyway, the Order of St. Michael and St. George is bestowed at the pleasure of the British monarch, Queen Elizabeth II, and recognizes service in a foreign country or in relation to foreign and Commonwealth affairs, typically of a non-military nature, with members holding the rank of Knight Grand Cross, Knight Commander, or Champion. Hang on. The 202-year-old order is now under fire, however, as the insignia associated with it depict a fair-skinned St. Michael trampling a darker-skinned Satan. Despite such imagery being very long established in Christian iconography, being rooted in the description of the archangel's victory over the devil in the Bible, this is a highly offensive image. It is also reminiscent of the recent murder of George Floyd by the white policeman in the same manner presented here in the medal. Reads the petition to redesign the honor attributed to one Tracy Reed. We, the undersigned, are calling for this medal to be completely redesigned in a more appropriate way, and for an official apology to be given for the offense it has given, she adds. Yes, apologize that 200 years ago you made this medal, and in 200 years somebody's gonna die in that exact same way, and we're all gonna be offended, so you better apologize. I'm just saying. It's a little weird. Yes, look. There. This is what they're so offended about. Oh my gosh, I'm offended just looking at a picture of it. Oh, I'm gonna have nightmares. I don't know. I need counseling. Please, someone get me a psychiatrist. I need it. The Guardian seemingly had no difficulty finding people taking the faintly ridiculous, almost prank-like demand seriously, quoting no less a personage than Sir Simon Woolley, whoever he is, Sir Woolley, founder-director of the Operation Black Vote campaign, as claiming that the original image may have been of St. Michael slaying Satan, but the figure has no horns or tail and is clearly a black man. My gosh, 200 years ago they designed this. They show this angel stepping on George Floyd. 200 years ago. What were they thinking? Why did they do that? I can't handle it. All right. So, Sir Simon did not mention that the Satan figure in the order's iconography does have giant bat wings and the lower body of a gigantic serpent, however. Just saying. A San Francisco mob tore down a statue of Junipero Serra, a saint who founded 9 Spanish missions in California and made it his life's work to serve others. This isn't peaceful protesting. It's senseless destruction, and it must end. I agree. This is the past that informs the present, and that's why it symbolizes everything that Black Lives Matter are campaigning for, Sir Simon continued. Sir Simon Woolley. The challenge is to acknowledge it and own it, but the opportunity is to put it right. It is easy to get rid of an image, but I would like root and branch restructuring because most of the institutions created by the empire are still there, he suggested. For most black and brown people, there is nothing good about the empire. Most people will see this as an image of George Floyd on a global scale and a symbol of white supremacy. I don't think so. I just think that maybe they should get, I don't know, maybe 500 black people from different areas, different parts, different countries. Line them all up and say, what do you think of this statue? I don't think any of them would say, oh my gosh, it's like killing him all over again. Oh my gosh. Do you think any of them would say that? I'm thinking not. Oxford professor, academics fear mob will destroy their careers if they defend British Empire. Well, the mob would destroy their careers because that's what we have operating right now is mob mentality. And of course, they cater to the lowest common denominator. So they're operating at about an IQ of 70, the mob as a whole, because it tends to devolve to the lowest common denominator. I might even be placing that a little high, an IQ of 70. Seriously, these people are not thinking at all. They've let the mob take over, and that's what happens. It devolves into the lowest common denominator, which is usually a bunch of thugs. All right. Well, are we done? Of course we're not. There's more. That's right. Okay. Well, now we've already looked at this, and I don't think we need to look at it again because we've looked at the actual document itself. But the Right Scoop, I'm sorry, my back is itchy. The Right Scoop has an article about this bombshell that Peter Strzok's notes indicate Biden is the one who suggested using the Logan Act to go after Flynn. Well, we've already looked at that, so I think I'm going to skip that. There's no sense in backtracking. And yes, this is very interesting as well. So let's take a look at it. I got into some poison ivy or poison sumac, and I keep having to itch my feet. I don't have athlete's foot or anything because I would die if I did. It's like a social faux pas. to have athlete's foot, but poison ivy is perfectly acceptable. Anyway, I don't know what I'm saying. Don't listen to me. Let's fact check Reuters. They say DNA vaccines don't change your genetic makeup. True or false? False. Excuse me. That is a low-flying plane that you're hearing right now. My gosh, look what I just found in my coffee. I don't know if you can see that. It's a little bug. Ew. I don't want to drink my coffee now. All right, as my readers know, I've been reporting on new types of technology that could be used in a coming COVID-19 vaccine and warning about the consequences. One such technology is DNA vaccines. They would alter recipients' genetic makeup permanently. But Reuters has seen fit to claim a future COVID-19 DNA vaccine will not genetically modify humans. This comes from their fact check team. Oh, well, if they're anything like Snopes, you can toss that out. May 18th, 2020, false claim a COVID-19 vaccine will genetically modify humans. To reach this conclusion, Reuters cites two people, Mark Linus, a visiting fellow at Cornell University Alliance for Science Group, and Dr. Paul McCrae, professor of pediatrics, microbiology, and internal medicine at the University of Iowa. I have cited the New York Times, March 10th, 2015, protection without a vaccine. Here are the quotes from the Times article. By delivering synthetic genes into the muscles of the experimental monkeys, these scientists are essentially re-engineering the animals to resist disease. The sky's the limit, said Michael Farzan, an immunologist at Scripps and lead author of the new study. The first human trial based on this strategy called immunoprophylactics by gene transfer, or IGT, is underway, and several new ones are planned. That was 5 years ago. IGT is altogether different from traditional vaccination. It is instead a form of gene therapy. Scientists isolate the genes that produce powerful antibodies against certain diseases and then synthesize artificial versions. The genes are placed into viruses and injected into human tissue, usually muscle. Here's the punchline. The viruses invade human cells with their DNA payloads, and the synthetic gene is incorporated into the recipient's own DNA. If all goes well, the new genes instruct the cells to begin manufacturing powerful antibodies. The Times article taps Dr. David Baltimore for an opinion. Still, Dr. Baltimore says that he envisions that some people might be leery of a vaccination strategy that means altering their own DNA, even if it prevents a potentially fatal disease. Yeah, call me crazy, but I don't want my DNA altered. I'm just saying. Okay. So it's a battle of the experts, the two men Reuters cited versus the Times, David Baltimore. I don't hold up a scientific work of any of these men for great acclaim. I'm only interested in that man knows whether a DNA vaccine would permanently alter the genetic makeup of every recipient's DNA. Yes. David Baltimore is a Nobel laureate, 1975, in physiology and medicine, and the past president of the American Association for the Advancement of Science. He's one of the most famous scientists in the world. I'm betting Reuters would happily trade their unknown experts for Baltimore if he would side with their claim. Perhaps they'll now approach him and perhaps he'll change his mind. But the New York Times has him on the record in 2015 admitting that DNA vaccines do alter genetic makeup. World-famous mainstream experts don't readily admit this sort of thing out in the open unless they're stating the obvious. The verdict on the Reuters fact-check team: fact-checkers checked the wrong box. Final point for the moment, researchers are fond of saying their genetic technologies are quite safe. This is a bald-faced lie. Claiming, for example, that a DNA COVID vaccine would alter humans' genetic makeup in entirely predictable and harmless ways is like saying a car without brakes doing 100 miles an hour set loose on a highway during rush hour would create no damage whatsoever. And here's something that I have often thought about, and it's interesting because I thought about this long before COVID came along, but I always believed that the mark that, the Bible talks about in Revelation is in some way alters our DNA, because it says that after you receive this mark, you can't be saved. You cannot be saved. I don't know how else to say it. It does something. And I wondered, I thought about that and thought about it because I really think about these things a lot. And I kept thinking and I thought, what could that mark be that would prevent you, once you had it, from being able, salvation, having salvation? You can't after you've received the mark. Well, I think it's one of two things. Either it's altering your DNA to such a point that they're introducing something that shouldn't be there, like as in non-human, or who knows. Or it's making you incapable of making the decision to follow Christ, because there is a way, and I've seen the footage of it, they were talking about it, there is a way that they can introduce a vaccine that actually shuts down that part of your brain that seeks God. So, they really have that. So I really do believe that the mark will incorporate, either it will dull that area or destroy that area in you that seeks the Lord, or it will be introducing foreign DNA into your system at any rate. This is something that I'm very interested in and kind of keep up with. So anyway, let's go on. And of course, nobody knows really what the mark is going to be. Okay, well, yeah, this is interesting too. Well, of course, I'm not going to put stuff that isn't interesting in here. China just bought up 130,000 acres of pristine frontier Texas land near Fort Hood. This can't be good. That's a lot of land. 130,000 acres. My gosh, I'd be happy with just one. I'd be happy with half. Why do we allow foreigners to buy this much of our land? Why are there no laws against this? Exactly. Why are there no laws against that? I mean, that runs counter. It's counterproductive. It's why would you allow your enemy? I mean, even if I had, a nice house out in the country and I had land around me that I owned and I was going to sell it, do you think I would sell it to my enemies or people that hated me or people that wanted to harm me? No. So it doesn't make sense. All right. So, given its hold on many American Democrat politicians, Joe Biden among them, and its aggressive global stance, it is not surprising that during testimony to the Senate Judiciary Committee in July 2019, FBI Director Christopher Wray emphasized there is no country that poses a more severe counterintelligence threat right now than China. Now, in 2020, China had purchased over 100,000 acres in West Texas for what they say is an economic project. U.S. intelligence is casting a suspicious eye at their claim. Retired CIA station chief Daniel Hoffman told the media the specific location in Xi's crosshairs is the iconic frontier landscape framed by the pristine Devil's River and legendary Pesco's River in the West Texas borderlands of Val Verde County. Beginning in 2015, GH American Investment Group purchased over 130,000 acres of property in Val Verde County. GH America is wholly owned subsidiary of the Xinjiang-based Guanhu Industry Investment Group. I'm probably butchering that. Xinjiang is notorious for so-called re-education camps where China detains Uyghur Muslims and other ethnic minorities against their will and violates their human rights. Excuse me. It's not COVID. It's allergies. All right, so he sees the potential for Chinese espionage against the U.S. from within our own country, says Hoffman. I will loudly ring alarm bells about the threat to our national security from GH America and its Chinese Communist Party overlords. Sun Guangxin, and founder and director of Xinjiang Guanghu, I don't know how to pronounce that, Industry Investment Group, served in the Chinese People's Liberation Army and was the vice chairman of the Xinjiang Provincial Youth Federation. Having long maintained a close relationship with China's Communist Party leadership, Sun is one of 200 wealthiest businessmen in China. Sun reportedly overpaid for the land in Valverde County, and the Blue Hills Wind Project appears to be his only renewable energy project in the U.S. The site could gather sensitive intel from the nearby U.S. military facilities like Fort Hood, Fort Bliss, and Lackland Air Force Base. Lackland and nearby Laughlin Air Force Base graduates hundreds of pilots a year. It could also attempt to compromise personnel from those bases as well. The Chinese could monitor U.S. border operations and defenses and plug into critical Texas infrastructure, including its electrical grid. So, yeah, I don't know why there is no law against that, but somebody needs to do something about that, like soon. That should not be, and especially so close to a military base. Not good. All right, well, I thought that you would find that interesting and a little infuriating. Okay, let's go back and let's look at something else that's going to make you go, huh? Rhode Island governor's order removes part of official state name from documents. Yeah, the smallest state in the Union has found itself in the crosshairs of the ongoing culture wars as Rhode Island's Democratic governor, Gina Raimondo, removed part of the state's official name from several documents via executive order Monday. While the ocean state is known to the rest of the country simply as Rhode Island, it has the official name, the state of Rhode Island and Providence Plantations, since it became the 13th state in 1790. Detractors of the name argue that the word plantations invokes the legacy of slavery, as demonstrated by her decision to sign an executive order to eliminate parts of the state name from government documents. The governor agrees with that analysis. Our work to dismantle systemic racism in Rhode Island did not start today, and it will not end today, but we can rise together and make meaningful progress toward racial equality now, Raimondo said in a tweet Monday announcing the move. And this doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense to me. Really, it doesn't. Because, I mean, I don't know. Why all of a sudden do these things just get everybody in a tizzy? I don't get it. And I think, it would cost a state a lot of money to change the name on everything. Okay, so WPRI-TV reported that Rhode Island General Treasurer Seth Magaziner said he recognizes the word plantations was not necessarily connected with slavery at the time, but words and symbols can take on new meanings. Well, so just drop that. Just call it Rhode Island. And I guess maybe that's what they're doing. I hope that's what they're doing and not anything more aggressive than that. So, says according to WBZ TV in Boston, Raimondo's order will remove the phrase Providence Plantations from gubernatorial orders and citations, executive agency websites, official correspondence, and state employee pay stubs. However, the official name cannot be changed without the approval of the General Assembly. I'm sorry. I don't know why. All of a sudden, my voice is acting up. Hopefully it'll settle down and I can get a few more things in here. But if not, I will end it because I know that it's annoying to listen to somebody cough. All right. Well, I don't think it's going to settle down. All right, well, let's make this the last thing. Now, tomorrow I am going to be bringing you the Q post and any news. So, and I'm going to try to post earlier tomorrow night. I really need to be, I try, but then there's things that come up that I have to deal with parents, stuff like that. So, yeah, but I'm going to try. Okay, she was the U.S. program officer at the Bill Gates Foundation. She oversaw $17 billion in federal grants and budget spending. Interesting how none of that is mentioned in the CNN article. No, that's not interesting. That's just a fact because, I mean, we know that. They're never going to tell the truth. Herself, her daughter, and a grandfather all drowned in their new pool. Okay, sure. 3 people drowning in a pool at once seems very unlikely. I would say that that's very unlikely as well. But yeah, she was the U.S. program officer at the Bill Gates Foundation. $17 billion she oversaw. And she died. An 8-year-old girl, her mother, and her grandfather drowned in their new home's swimming pool. How does that happen? Tell me how 3 people drowned. I can understand the 8-year-old girl. She may not have been a strong swimmer, but the mother and the grandfather, no. I don't believe that for a moment. Well, I believe that they drowned. I think that they had assistance. I just don't see how 3 people can drown in a pool. Do you? What do you guys think? Now, I'm not even sure of her name because this doesn't mention her name, but I want to look into this further. If any of you know this person's name, please put it in the comments below because I would like to look into this a little further. I wonder what she knew. I wonder if she had any connection to the Clinton Foundation. Because we know that people connected to the Clinton Foundation, I don't know, they just all seem to be depressed because they either commit suicide or they shoot themselves in the back of the head with the wrong arm, or they shoot themselves 3 times in the back of the head. That takes talent. All right, well, what else do we have here? I can't remember what this is, but I don't think I'd put it there unless it was good. Oh, yes, it's good. All right. Oh, my gosh. Samuel Williams says, now, this is in response to this. Jason Howerton said, a man who got shot in Chaz now wants to sue the police for not responding fast enough to the autonomous zone where they have barricades up barring the police from entering. So this guy who got shot wants to sue the police. Let's listen to what he has to say.
Yo, I was shot in Seattle at Chaz on Friday. The cops left me out there to die. I need help with somebody in legal or media to get my story told and get it out there. I got shot 5 times. Need you guys' help. Yo, I was shot in Seattle.
Now,
at Chaz.
Okay, I feel bad for this guy. He didn't deserve to be shot. Well, maybe he did. I don't know what he was doing. But anyway, I mean, I don't want anybody to be shot. But here's the thing. It's called the police-free zone. They've told the police to stay out. The police would have been assaulted and possibly killed had they gone in there to get this guy. So really, you're going to blame the police for that after saying this is a police-free zone, don't come in. There's armed people in there, all who hate the police. And you think the police need to go in there and get that guy? I don't think so. They should have got him out on a stretcher to the police. That's what they should have done. Because I don't blame the police. If I was the police, I wouldn't want to go in there. Not even the EMS, I don't think even would go in there. So, yeah, I can't can't blame the police. You know what would have happened. They wouldn't have cared that they were there to help this man. They would have attacked. They would have burned his vehicle. They would have beaten him up or possibly killed him. So, yeah, I think this is stupid that he is seeking, damages. Yeah, it's suddenly the police fault when you say, oh, we don't want the police in here. It's a police-free zone. We hate the police. Down with the police. F the police. But then why didn't the police save me? Why? Well, that's why. It doesn't take a whole lot of brain power there. Now, again, I'm not, I feel bad for this guy, but it is what it is. You're there. It's kind of like you're there, It's like when you sign a waiver, like you go ziplining or something and you sign a waiver saying if you get hurt, it's not their fault, unless it's faulty equipment or whatever. But yeah, so once you sign that waiver, hey, if you do something stupid, and then it's not on them. All right, well, let's go to here. I haven't actually somebody sent this to me. Actually, I haven't had a chance to read through it, so I'm going to leave it until tomorrow. It's about a 7-year-old boy praying with local police officers, and I'm sure it's a very, very good. I just want to have a look at it before, and I think that is it, actually. Wow, we made it through what I had, except that one, and we had already looked at it, so we're good to go here. And what is this? Oh yes, these are older things that we don't need to look at because they're old. We don't want old news. That's an oxymoron, actually. Old news. You can't have old news because if it's news, it's new. Anyway, that is it for tonight. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I appreciate it. I know you have a choice of where to spend your time and who to look at and listen to. So I'm always honored when you choose to spend it with me. So thank you guys so much. You guys have a wonderful evening. Also, let me know, guys, because I've been thinking, I do have a degree in graphic art. I just haven't been doing much of my art these days, but I was thinking of designing some more t-shirts, and is that something you'd be interested in? Do you guys have any ideas of what you would like? Because I may do that. So anyway, you guys have a great night. Stay safe, stay well, stay blessed, and always, always seek the truth. Deception bites. Good night, guys.